We have a raft of acquisition channels available to us nowadays, from PPC, and you can be really granular with PPC and think about breaking that down to brand, generic, dynamic shopping, social, which again can be paid or earned, it can be in-app or driven out, TV, DM, press, display, outdoor, door drop, inserts, affiliates, PR, influencers, MGM, SEO, video content, partnership, sponsorship. Really, there are a raft of options out there for everyone to play with. And so therefore, understanding how you should be recruiting customers and which customers you'd want to be recruiting in terms of driving the best future growth for your business is really important. And where most people start, and where I see quite a lot of businesses still based, is that measure beloved by investors, CAC, or customer acquisition cost, which to other people in this room would be marketing cost per recruit. And that's a fairly standard start, but even that has its problems. First of all, you need to work out, who are you classing as a recruit to your business? Is it just anyone you've never seen before? Is it anyone who you haven't seen for at least 5 years? So you need to be really clear about what a recruit or what an acquisition looks like to your business. And then when we talk about marketing acquisition cost or marketing cost per recruit, what goes into your marketing cost? Are you just looking at the media cost? Are you looking at wrapping in the creative cost into that? Do you think about wrapping in any other variable marketing costs into that allow you to properly understand how much it's cost to get that marketing out there? The problem with marketing cost per recruit is it doesn't take into account a whole load of factors. And those factors can include different channels having different margin, different channels having different average order values, items per order, average selling prices. And those all come with their own different variable costs. So you probably want to think about moving from a loose marketing cost per recruit to a fully costed or contribution cost per recruit, or any other terminology you have on that basis. And here I have to point out that precision in terminology is really important. I've worked at a number of companies and with a number of companies where people bandy around cost of acquisition, and 4 people sitting around the same table think we're talking about 4 entirely different numbers. And that's where I start to be really pedantic around marketing cost per recruit, fully costed cost per recruit, acquisition cost, just being precise about what you mean by those numbers so you can get that in the right direction. If you get to a fully costed cost per recruit and you're sucking up all your fulfillment and variable costs, and you're taking into account the margin you're making from that first order, you start to get to a good point in understanding, how much am I making, or how much is that customer costing me at the point that they first come into the business. I'm not going to talk about attribution at the moment, so I'm not going to talk about should you try and work out whether that customer's actually come from a cold DM, or would that have happened without some brand search terms, and would that have happened without affiliate marketing. I've covered that in previous sessions, and no doubt I'll cover that again at some point. So I'm gonna assume we've got our attribution right, and assume now that we're understanding how much those customers cost to get us into the business. But that's not enough. And that's nowhere near enough, because we know that different customers have a different future value to the business. So if your recruits through Google Shopping are making you a £5, but your recruits through cold mail are costing you a £10, your numbers might very clearly say to you, if you're just looking at marketing cost per recruit, great, loads more Google Shopping, knock the old DM on the head, and let's just push in that direction. But actually, having a really clear understanding of what the future value, and I'm being really clear again with future value and not lifetime value. Lifetime value is some ethereal concept of what a customer might be worth to you for as long as your company ever runs. What you want to be clear on is, what's the future value in a defined set period of those customers to the business. So what's the 1 year, 2 year, 3 year value of those customers into the business? So what is their future value? And then you can use that and work out the contribution from that future value to offset it against the cost per recruit. So we've got our Google Shopping recruits costing us, making us a £5, and we've got our DM recruits costing us a £10. But in a year, the future value, future contribution from the Google Shopping people might be a £10, and the future value from the DM people might be 30 quid. And if you're taking a 1 year view of how valuable these customers are to your business and how you're prepared to invest, that would totally change your understanding as to where to put your money. The question then is that the problem is recruitment may not just be about recruitment, as odd as that sounds. So is your recruitment spend actually doing a different job as well? Is it doing a job at creating incremental existing customer revenue? And if so, you need to make sure that's factored into your calculation, that you're not overbearing or you're not putting additional costs onto your recruitment that actually should be sitting in other areas. So for example, if your Google brand campaign or your Google Shopping campaign is bringing customers in, looks like making their £5, making £5 per recruit, actually they might be making a lot more, because a lot of that cost is actually doing a really good job at making incremental existing customer value. So you need to understand what those are and need to be separating those out. Otherwise you end up being far too hard on your recruitment, and as a result may end up underinvesting in bringing new customers into the business. The problems then come is that we know that we've worked really hard in testing and learning to get the right product creative and promotion in our channel to get the best out of that marketing channel. What we know is whatever we've optimized in one definitely won't be right across the broader mix of channels. And we need to make sure when we're running these optimizations on our product creative and promotions that we're not just optimizing for response at the point that those customers come into the business, but we're optimizing for future value. So as well as measuring, great, my response rate on that or my cost per recruit on that has gone down by 3 quid, well, that might be all well and good, but if your future value of those customers has gone down by 10 quid, then actually we've made a terrible decision in moving to that option. So therefore, getting that really delicate balance between how much those recruits are costing coming into your business and their future value is really important. So understanding how quickly you can estimate with a reasonable degree of accuracy what that future value is going to be is really important. Spending some time to work out how predictive your data is going to be vital. After 30, 60 or 90 days, can you, with more than 90% accuracy, predict what a customer is going to spend in a year or 2 years? If you can, then you can start to make decisions really soon after changing your marketing tactics and strategies. For example, if you decide to become a lot more promotional in your recruitment strategy, and that brings in a lot of much cheaper recruits, you need to know as soon as possible if those recruits are just bargain hunters in it for the deal, or if they're going to be some long-term value to you. And one thing is absolutely certain, is that those future values of customers continue to change as your marketing spend and brand changes and as the market evolves. The market is a very different one today than it was a year ago, in many ways driven by the unending numbers of lockdowns that we seem to have had, and therefore the responsiveness of people to different types of marketing and therefore their future value has significantly changed in that year period. So taking account of that and making sure that you're right on the money and measuring as soon as possible how those customers and what those future values of the customers are to you, and will allow you to be really on top of changes to your marketing strategy and on top of what those changes are doing in terms of future customers and future value.